Sadaha Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Om Tat Sat Om Namah Shivaya. Good morning. Okay, so as we had announced earlier, for the next few weeks we will have this morning class on Aparoksha Anubhuti on Saturday mornings. So essentially, this is meant as intermediate filler between two Upanishads for the Upanishadic class, which normally runs on Saturday mornings. But since it's one of those commentaries, Prakarana Granthas, we thought we would throw it open to everybody. So at the outset, I'll say it's a bit of an advanced Grantha. So if you have covered most of the Gita, and you will be able to make some sense out of it. If you have covered Gita and some Upanishads, then it will be easily understandable to you. But even if you have not done, in Vedantic teaching, we say that Shravanam can function either as Shravanam or it can function as, Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, basically. So even if you have not, prepared your mind by having extended Shravanam of Bhagavad Gita, Shravanam of this particular text will not go waste. It will act as Upasana for you. So either way, it is good. It purifies the mind in one case. It gives you knowledge in another case. So with that background, we will start. This text is called Aparoksha Anubhuti. Aparoksha Anubhuti. So if you literally want to translate it, it comes as direct experience, which Aparoksha is direct, Anubhuti is experience, and which gives a very wrong idea. The English translation is very inadequate. So we'll come to that. Now, Prasthanatrayam you know, right? What is Prasthanatrayam? What does
Bhagavad Gita,
Bhagavad Gita,
Upanishads and Brahma Sutras.
Brahma Sutras, right? So now, many teachers, many Acharyas have written extended commentaries on this Prasthanatrayam. And these commentaries don't follow the verses per se. I mean, they repeat the same teaching, but in an easier format. Some are in prose, some are in verse form, and they are called Prakarana Granthas, introductory texts. Now, these texts, these Prakarana Granthas, are basically of two types. Some of them present the entire teaching in a nutshell, like Tattva Bodha, right? There are some other Prakarana Granthas, where they don't analyze the entire Vedantic teaching, but they take a particular aspect and they present an exhaustive analysis, an extensive study of a particular aspect of Vedanta, a particular topic of Vedanta. Okay, now under this presenting the entire teaching, there are various texts like Tattva Bodha, Atma Bodha, Viveka Chudamani, all attributed to Shankaracharya. And even among these Prakarana Granthas, there are various levels. For example, Tattva Bodha is meant for absolute beginners, which is why we take it up first. Then you have Atma Bodha and Vivek Chudamani. They are meant for slightly more exposed students, senior students. Okay, so now text we are now taking up for study is called Aparoksha Anubhuti. It is in metric form, in poetry form. It has 144 verses. Okay. Now, Anubhuti is Anubhava, means in normal translation would be experience, but specifically in this context, you have to understand Anubhava as Jnanam, as knowledge, right? And Aparoksha, as I said, is direct. So when we talk about Aparoksha Anubhuti, we are talking about Aparoksha Jnanam, direct knowledge. And when you say direct knowledge, you are of course saying that there is also something called indirect knowledge. So Aparoksha Jnanam is there and Paroksha Jnanam is there. Now to understand Aparoksha Jnanam, direct knowledge, first let us look at Paroksha Jnanam, which is indirect knowledge, right? Now, let us say that, some years back, I didn't know what a kiwi was, right? What is a kiwi? K-I-W-I.
It is a bird as well as a bird or a fruit.
It's a bird or a fruit. Okay. So I had never seen the fruit called kiwi. Now, at that point of time, somebody gave me a description of the fruit. This shape is there, this size is there, this color is there, this is what is inside, and it's got some sort of a different sort of taste and all those things. Now, when I got this description, what is it that I got? I got knowledge, jnanam, of some fruit, which I had not seen before, about which I had no knowledge before. So there was no, I had not seen it, there was no experience, right? So this knowledge is Aparoksha Jnanam, Aparoksha Jnanam.
Paroksha.
It is Paroksha Jnanam. Why? Because it is devoid of Anubhava. I have not experienced the fruit. I have not seen the fruit. I have not eaten the fruit. I have not seen the fruit. I don't know what the fruit looks like, but I have got knowledge. So this knowledge gained of an object of which there has been no experience, that is called Paroksha Jnanam. Now, when somebody gives me that fruit and I'm able to see by myself, what happens? Through my sense organs, the form, the color, and through my tongue, the taste, etc., it reaches the mind through the indriyas. Right? So this is called Aparoksha Jnana, where the knowledge is received because the fruit came into contact with my sense organs. Of course, now when I say that fruit came into contact with my sense organs, I have to say that the fruit came into contact with the mind. Okay, this idea is important because when something comes into contact with your indriyas, ultimately indriyas are passing that information where? To the mind. The processing unit of the indriyas is the mind, and the indriyas have passed the knowledge directly to the mind. So you can redefine Aparoksha Jnanam as Jnanam where the object of knowledge, the prameyam, is in direct contact with the mind. And therefore, of course, what is Paroksha Jnanam, indirect knowledge? It's knowledge of an object where it has not come in contact with the mind. Okay, I should add a note here. In case of an object external to you, for example, the kiwi, the fruit, the indriyas are involved in conveying the object, form, shape, etc. to the mind. But there are other objects where the mind is able to come into contact with the object, but the indriyas are not required. Can you name one or two, whatever?
Thought,
Sorry?
thoughts, emotions.
Emotions,
Feeling.
right? Feelings, anger, etc. When you know I'm angry, your indriyas are not involved. Why I'm giving this idea is that it is not the indriya which is the criteria for deciding whether knowledge is paroksha or aparoksha. It is the mind. When emotions are known to the mind, they are also aparoksha jnana, direct knowledge. And therefore, the criteria for deciding whether jnanam is direct or indirect, paroksha or aparoksha, is very simple. Is the object of knowledge in contact with the mind or not? Clear? Explanation is okay? Any doubts?
Ravi.
Yes, please.
Can I ask a question here?
Please, Manmohan.
So you said that these fruits I have never seen. You have explained it. So in that case also, when you are explaining it, I am experiencing through my mind,
Knowledge,
although it
not
is
the
not
fruit.
direct knowledge of fruit, although it is not directly experienced through my sense organs. So here most important thing is mind, not the
Correct.
direct to
But
the
the
sense.
mind has not experienced the fruit. It is only got a description of the fruit.
Okay, so now when fruit I have in my hand, in that case, also it's
Manmohan, you are breaking up. We cannot hear you.
my
I'm sorry, I can't hear you at all.
because this issue in my hand.
Manmohan, we didn't hear whatever you said. There's complete breakup of the sound was there.
Yes, sir. I will write it down if I can't understand in between. Maybe when you explain, I understand my
Okay,
question.
you
So I
put it in the
stop for the
put it in
moment.
the post. Yeah, put it in
Yes.
the post.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now, continuing from where we left, where the mind is directly in contact with the object, mind is in contact, right? You are not getting just the knowledge of the object, you are getting the experience of the object. That is called Aparoksha Jnana. So now, also one more important point. When you see, let us say, a star, which is millions of light years away, okay, is it Aparoksha Jnanam or Paroksha Jnanam? When you see a star,
Aparoksha Jnanam.
it is Aparoksha Jnanam. Why?
Because you're seeing it.
Because you are seeing it. So the proximity of the object to you, whether the object is near or far, it is not relevant. What is important is whether the star is being experienced by your mind or not. Okay, so that's another explanation. Okay, now supposing, I have never been to Gangotri and somebody comes from there and says that I will tell you what Gangotri is. So he explains about Gangotri to me. Remember that for that someone who has been to Gangotri, Gangotri is Aparoksha Jnanam. But for me who have never been to Gangotri, the explanation is Paroksha Jnanam. So that's what I mean by saying when the mind is exposed to the object, it is a Paroksha Jnanam. When the mind is being given a description without having been exposed to the object, it is Paroksha Jnanam. So during Paroksha Jnanam, I don't have experience of Gangotri. Only when I reach there, then I get Aparoksha Jnana. Right? Now, why is all this important? Because you find that in case of Brahman, we talk of both types of knowledge. We talk of Paroksha Jnanam and Aparoksha Jnanam. So what is Brahma Paroksha Jnanam? You use the other definition. When Brahman is not in contact with the mind, it is Paroksha Jnanam. And if you use the definition of Aparoksha Jnanam, then it becomes that when your mind is in contact with Brahman, either with the eyes open or eyes closed, then it is Aparoksha Jnanam. Right? So there is a problem with this definition, with this interpretation, as far as Brahman is concerned. As far as any other object is concerned, it is fine. But as far as Brahman is concerned, there is a problem. Why? Because as far as Brahman is concerned, we cannot talk of Paroksha Jnanam for Brahman. Why? Paroksha Jnanam implies what?
Of an jnanam of an object. And Brahman is not an object.
Paroksha Jnanam, I said, implies that Brahman is not in contact with you, the mind. Correct?
Yes.
Is there ever a time when
No.
Brahman is not in contact with the mind?
No.
Why?
No, then there is no mind, because existence of mind itself is lent by Brahman.
Yeah, Brahman is all pervading. Consciousness and existence are both being received from Brahman only. And therefore, I cannot talk about Paroksha Jnanam of Brahman because Brahman is never away from the mind. Is it not? Brahman is in contact with the mind all the time. So then the question comes, if I can never say that Paroksha Jnanam of Brahman is necessary because Brahman is in contact with me all the time, it means I already have a Paroksha Jnanam of Brahman because my mind is in contact with Brahman. Do you follow the argument?
Ji.
Right? Any doubts? The argument is very simple. You are saying Aparoksha Jnanam of an object is when the mind is in contact with the object. And therefore, Brahman is always in contact with my mind. So I already have Aparoksha Jnanam of Brahman. What is the need to study Shastram which will give me Aparoksha Jnanam? Shastram, remember, gives you Aparoksha Jnanam of Brahman. Why is it important? Because he say that Brahma Aparoksha Jnanam alone can give moksha. Right? Now, Shastram says Brahman is consciousness principle, all pervading, and therefore is always in contact with the mind, can never be away from the mind. And that is why the argument is that Brahma Jnanam is Nitya Aparoksha Jnanam, always in contact with the mind. Nobody lacks Brahman experience. Therefore, there is no need to work for Brahman experience. Right? Now, for example, if you want to know what is written in a textbook, then you need to do some work. You need to connect the mind to the book. How? Through your eyes. There is text in the book which is not in contact with your mind until you open the book and read the book using your indriyas, using your eyes. That is how you connect the eyes to the mind to the book through your indriyas. But it is not necessary for Brahman. Right? Brahman experience is already there because your mind is always in contact with Brahman. Therefore, Brahman is there all the time in your mind, and therefore there can be never such a thing as Paroksha Jnanam of Brahman. Paroksha Jnanam of Brahman can come only if Brahman is not in touch with your mind. This is going by our definition. Now, if this is so, then the question is, how come so many commentators in Vedanta, they talk about two things, Paroksha Jnanam of Brahman and Aparoksha Jnanam of Brahman. It's a very important idea. Direct knowledge of Brahman and indirect knowledge of Brahman. This kind of arguments are found in many commentaries, in many Vedantic texts. How to understand? Normally, in a normal transaction, the worldly experience, the experience of the object comes first and then the knowledge comes. This is a general rule, right? Is it understood? If I want to study an apple, which I have never seen, let us say, then if I look at the apple, the experience of the apple comes first. The sensory experience of the apple comes first. Then I use my indriyas to study the properties. Therefore, first comes the experience, then comes the knowledge, right? If I read about a wonderful Kathakali performance in some, hall in my city, what happens? I get Paroksha Jnanam first by reading the newspaper, and then I go to the hall and get Aparoksha Jnanam. Right? Now, so there are exceptional cases where experience is there without the knowledge. For example, let us say this is the example which I use always. You have come to the ashram, right? Or let's take another example. You are coming to the TTC for the ashram, and we are both in a play. You don't know who I am. We are sitting next to each other by accident. So we get talking, and you say that, I ask you where you are going, and you say, I'm going to the TTC in the ashram. And then you tell me that, I have heard that there is a teacher called Ravi ji there. I want to meet him. Here, which is first? Aparoksha Jnanam or Paroksha Jnanam?
Paroksha.
No.
He has not had experience of meeting you. No?
Of course he's had. I'm sitting next to him.
Oh, okay. But he doesn't know you are Raviji.
Exactly. So Aparoksha Jnanam is there. Aparoksha Anubhava, the experience is there. The experience is first. And then I tell him, oh, I am the same gentleman you want to meet. So this is an exceptional case where experience is first and knowledge is required. What is the difference between the case where I see an apple first and then I get knowledge about it using my sense organs, and this case where I see the object first, in this case me, and I get the knowledge later? What is the difference? I've explained in such great detail because I want you to know the difference between the two kinds of knowledge.
Object is living in your case, and the other object is.
No, that's material. It could be a object which is not living also. The
Okay.
difference is that in the first
Experience
case,
comes first. The
experience,
experience comes first.
correct,
Comes before the knowledge.
correct. So in a case where experience comes first and there is knowledge, and in a case where knowledge comes first and then there is experience, what is the difference? The difference is that where the experience is first, there is no knowledge. Where the knowledge is first, the knowledge is there, and then the experience comes, and therefore you can say, I know the apple. Because I have read about the apple, and then the apple comes to me, or I have been told about Gangotri, and then I go to Gangotri. So then the knowledge has come first and the experience has come later. In the case of the other way around, where the experience is first, I have experienced, but I don't know what it is. This person has experienced Raviji, but he doesn't know what it is. What is required to complete?
Knowledge.
Knowledge is required. Somebody has to tell you that this is Raviji. So, in the second case, where experience is the first and knowledge has to come later, that knowledge has to be imparted. And for that, a teacher is required. So, in cases where the experience precedes the knowledge, remember that the teacher is required to complete the entire show. Now, in the case of Brahman Anubhava is there all the time. Why? Because the fact that you breathe, the fact that you open your eyes, the fact that you can talk, the fact that you can think, the fact that you can walk, all this is nothing but experience of consciousness and existence. The experience of Brahman is there all the time. Any experience that I have of consciousness, existence, or Ananda is experience of Brahman alone. I don't need to work for Brahman experience. What I need is to be told what that experience represents. See, before I've come to Shastram, I already, supposing I'm a complete beginner, I still have experience of the fact that I am existing and I am conscious and I'm happy sometimes. I know all these things. Sat Chit Ananda experience is there, but I don't know that it is Brahman. And therefore, that introduction is given by Shastram, by the teacher. Therefore, we have to redefine Aparoksha Jnanam. Aparoksha Jnanam of Brahman is not a fresh experience, a new experience. It is just a new knowledge. The experience is already there, but the knowledge was not there. And the new knowledge is what? That whatever you are experiencing, that ever evident you is there. I am happy, I exist, I am thinking, I am conscious. That new knowledge is that ever evident I. But I is there in every moment of mine. That ever evident I is nothing but Brahman. That is the teaching conveyed by the Shastra. And that is what is meant by Tat Tvamasi. That which you are, that is Brahman alone. And therefore, in case of Brahman, the term Aparoksha Anubhuti, the Anubhuti cannot be understood as experience, as Anubhava. It has to be understood as Jnanam about the already experienced Brahman. The Brahman which I am experiencing every moment of my life, in every breath, in every thought, that Brahman I experience, that the new knowledge about Brahman, that is called Aparoksha Anubhuti. You should never translate the term as direct experience. It's always knowledge about the experience which I already have directly. Right? Okay. What is this idea which is being conveyed by Shastram? I think I am the body. Shastram says, no, you are not the body. I think I am the mind. Shastram says, no, you are not the mind. Then what am I? You are that consciousness which pervades the body and the mind. That consciousness, that all-pervading consciousness, which is different from your body, is different from your mind, is different from your intellect, is different from the ahankar. When Shastram gives you this knowledge, you are not getting any new experience of Brahman. You are just getting a new knowledge. And all this comes when Upanishad tells you Tattvamasi. This is the Mahavakyam, Tattvamasi. And it is the essence of this Mahavakyam which is being taught in this text. Okay, before we go on to the first verse, any questions which you may have?
Acharya.
Acharya,
Yes, please, go ahead.
Acharya
Ji,
ji,
please go ahead.
Acharya ji, then why is the text not, why is the text called Aparoksha Anubhuti and not Aparoksha Jnanam?
Because Aparoksha Anubhuti is a term which is used everywhere in the Shastra. In fact, when we go to Upanishad itself, you will find that this term is used so many times. Commentators use the term so many times. And therefore, Shankaracharya thought it fit to keep this term only and explain it further. Ultimately, Aparoksha Anubhuti is nothing but the idea conveyed by Tattvamasi, that whatever I experience, that is Brahman alone. And that Brahman, I am.
Yes. So when you tell me that I am Brahman and I understand myself as Brahman, that is Aparoksha
That is
Jnanam.
Aparoksha Anubhuti. That knowledge that you are Brahman, that the term I, whenever you use the word I, whenever you use the word I, if you have begun to use the word I to refer to your higher nature, then that is Aparoksha Anubhuti.
Yes. Thank you.
Hello, Ravi
Vandana ji,
ji.
you were saying something? Oh, yes, Nataraji, boliye.
No, let someone else talk first, then I will come later.
Vandana, you were there? You saying something?
Oh, Acharya, yes. Yes, I was trying to make a clear distinction between what is Aparoksha Anubhava and Pratyaksha Pramanam. So till such time, when we use the word Aparoksha Jnanam during the explanation, but till such time, it's not linked to the subject, and all the Anubhava is simply to do with an objective experience, we can, I guess, use the term Pratyaksha Pramanam.
Pratyaksha Pramanam is just the direct contact of any object through your senses with your mind. If you're looking at a glass, the knowledge that this is a glass, that is Pratyaksha Pramanam. But you don't have the knowledge that I am that glass.
Right. So only
And
when
the
the
glass
subject comes in.
Yeah, only when I comes in, and that I is not different from the object of knowledge, then it is Aparoksha Anubhuti.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Lata ji.
Ravi ji, I had the similar question as Vandana ji. That's why one being Pratyaksha Pramana and the other one maybe Anubhava. So yeah, now I understand this better.
Okay.
Thanks.
Rajan ji, boliye.
See, while we were studying Bhagavad Gita, we were taught that the OC can never be experienced. Anything that is experienced cannot be the OC.
Correct.
So that when we say that it is, Aparoksha Anubhuti, the term Anubhuti itself probably contradicts that earlier teaching.
The term contradicts, but the understanding is, it is the knowledge that I am Brahman.
Therefore, in order to make sure that there is no contradiction, there needs to be an explanation that this Anubhuti means something else, not that.
Correct. Absolutely. That is the reason why this text is there.
Okay, that's all I wanted to say, nothing more.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so we will look at verse number 1. Let us chant it. Please unmute yourselves. Shri Harim Paramanandam.
Shri Harim
Paramanandam.
Upadeshtaramishwaram.
Upadeshtaramishwaram
Vyapakam sarvalokanam.
Vyapakam sarvalokanam
Karanam tam namamyaham.
Karanam tam namamyaham.
So you can see the whole thing is in which chanda?
Anushtubh Chanda.
The whole thing is Anushtubh Chanda. Okay. Now this first, as in most texts, the first verse is always a Mangala Sloka, the invocation. the prayer sloka. Here also, this text is a Mangala sloka. It is, and why is the Lord invoked? For the successful completion of the text, meaning that let my efforts, Shankaracharya is saying, let my efforts at conveying the idea of Tattvamasi, Aparoksha Anubhuti, let that effort be met with success. And for that effort, he is praying to the Lord, right? Now we know that the success or failure of any of our undertakings depend upon two things, Agami karma and Prarabdha karma. The current Prarabdha karma and current Agami karma may be different completely. We saw all this in Tattva Bodha. I may now be doing good karma, which is producing punya. At the same time, the Prarabdha karma which I am undergoing may not have any element of punya in it, right? My current Agami could be producing punyam, but the benefits of that I will reap later. But the disadvantages which I am currently going through, the pain which I am now going through, would be the papam portion of previous prarabdha. Right? This is one possible combination. But if prarabdha is also good, then my future consists of good agami and good prarabdha. The results will be very strong agami plus strong prarabdha, almost guaranteeing that whatever undertaking I am doing will succeed. There are so many combinations. I may have strong agami, please, and weak prarabdha, and so on. There are many, many combinations. So the idea is that obstacles can come from unknown sources. And when I come across obstacles in my life, it is not because Easwara is out to get me, right? It is because the obstacles have arisen due to my bad prarabdha having suddenly come to fructification. And in Shastram, any obstacle is defined as upata duritam. Upata duritam means acquired papam. In this case, acquired papam, which has now converted into prarabdha papam. And why do we need to handle this? Because that adrishta prarabdha papam can come as an obstacle in my project, in success of my project. And therefore, the only way to handle that is to pray. And we have a prayer. This is the Mangala Sloka. Shankaracharya wants that his work, two things, that is work of the text. Remember, he's writing the sloka as he's beginning the text. So Mangala Sloka, through the Mangala Sloka, he is praying to the Lord that his work in writing the text should be completed without obstacles, and further that the text should be reaching his students, and further that the text should be in such a manner that the student should be able to understand. And therefore, every Acharya in the tradition starts a text with a Mangala Sloka, with a prayer verse. Now, results of any undertaking, they depend upon three things: effort, time, and divine grace. So in Sanskrit, prayatna, kalaha, and daivaha. Prayatna means effort, kalaha means time, and daivaha means the Lord's grace. Each of this is very important. My effort is important. The appropriate time is important. For example, if I want to sow some seeds and I go and sow it in summer, it is the wrong time. I will not get the benefit. Therefore, kala is also important. And Lord's grace is important because that is necessary for the obstacles to be removed. I don't know what the obstacles are. They are all adrishta and necessary for the obstacles to be removed. So Shankara says, Easwaram aham namami. I offer my prostrations to the Lord, to Easwara. Now, in common parlance, Ishvara can be taken to mean Shiva. But in Vedanta, Ishvara does not mean any particular God. Ishvara is Brahman, Sahita Maya, the Samashti. Right? And Ishvara does not have any particular form. And therefore, the brilliant thing about Ishvara having no particular form is what? That I can invoke that Ishvara in any form that I like. Right? So you can invoke Ishvara on Shivalinga, on a Saligrama, anything. And here, Shankaracharya invokes as Sri Harim. Sri Harim is Lord Vishnu. Sri is who? Lakshmi Devi. Hari means Vishnu. And the word Hari is derived from taking away. Har, to remove. Hari is the one who takes away Prarabdha Papa. That is why it's called Hari. Right? And Sri Harim Vishnu means that Hari who belongs to Lakshmi Devi. Very specifically saying no other Hari we are talking about. That Vishnu who is Lakshmi Devi's husband. And that Vishnu is also Ishvara, which Shankaracharya worships. Right? Now remember, an incidental point here is that, which I remember because when somebody puts a vibhuti on your forehead, who is the devata that you can associate that with?
Shiva.
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 All your answers are Shiva, right? So that is the normal thinking, that if you put vibhuti on your head, because Shiva is sitting in a graveyard, you think Shiva is the Ishta Devata. That is not correct. Vibhuti is a tradition in Vedanta indicating what? That you are a Vaidika. The Vibhuti indicates that you have belief in Shastra. And therefore you can be Shiva Bhakta, you can be Vishnu Bhakta, you can be Ganesha Bhakta. It doesn't matter. The Vibhuti only indicates that you are a Vaidika. It represents the glory of Ishvara, not any particular Ishtadevata. So, and then the next word is Paramanandam. So, Ananda here means Purnatvam, fullness, completeness. Paramanandam means the Ananda Chaitanya Rupa, limitless consciousness, which is in the form of Ananda alone. Ananda means Ananta over here. Therefore, you have to take it as limitless. And what is he? Sarva Lokanam Karanam. He is the creator of all the 14 lokas. Maya Sahita Brahman is the creator of the 14 lokas. Maya is Anadi, Brahman is Anadi, and from that combination alone, all the physical bodies and subtle bodies have come. We know from our studies that Shastra says that Ishvara is both Nimitta Karanam and Upadana Karanam, intelligent cause as well as material cause. So again, to repeat some, basic Vedantic knowledge, how can you say that one entity is both intelligent and material cause? Because normal experience is different. Worldly experience is different. The carpenter is different from the wood. The gold is different from the ornament. For that we say there are exceptions for every general rule. And this exception is there in Mundaka Upanishad. By way of what?
Spider.
Purnanabhi.
Spider example.
The spider example. Spider is both Nimitta Upadana Karanam, Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karam. It is the creator as well as the material cause. Then there is another example which we experience every day, but we don't normally recall. It is the dream, right? When in your dream, when the tiger is chasing you, you are the Nimitta Karanam for the dream, right? And you yourself are the Upadana Karanam for both the tiger and the chase to you. Therefore, the waker, remember, it is the waker who is the abhinna nimitta upadana karanam, the non-different instrumental and material cause for the tiger, as well as the person who is being chased, as well as the dream. Right? So we say that using these two examples, we say that it is possible for Ishvara also to be the nimitta, that is the instrumental, as well as the material cause of the world. And therefore, sarvalokanam karanam means sarvalokanam abhinna nimitta upadana karanam, the non-different cause for the universe, both instrumental cause, both efficient cause, and material cause. Okay. What is the problem with looking at Ishvara as only instrumental cause?
Infinity is gone. I mean, there are two things in that case.
Beg your pardon?
Sorry, my network.
Your network is very bad. Anyway, anybody else? What is the problem with?
Then Ishvara cannot be infinite if
And dual.
if he- only the efficient cause, because then the material cause has to be something else.
Correct. So you're looking at duality. When you look at Ishvara as the nimitta karanam, as the instrumental cause, you see him as sitting somewhere, and having created the world, he is sitting elsewhere. Right? The world, there is Ishvara. So that's the problem. Therefore, he says sarvalokanam abhinna nimitta upadana karanam. It has to be the non-different instrumental as well as material cause. Shankara is very specific about this. The next word is vyapakam, all pervading. So you have to look at the word again. Sarvalokanam karanam is one thing, and then you have to read again Sarvalokanam vyapakam. He pervades, not only is he the karanam for the whole universe, Sarvalokanam vyapakam, he is also pervading the entire universe. So when you look upon Ishvara as the material cause, as the upadana karanam, then we say that Ishvara becomes the world. Right? And that is why we are able to worship the mountains, the trees, the rivers, and everything. And that is why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that for darshanam of the Lord, you need not close your eyes and meditate. You need not work for Ishvara darshana. What should you learn to do? Which chapter are we talking about? In which chapter does Krishna
Chapter
imply?
10.
Not 10.
Vibhutis.
It's chapter 11. Vishwarupa Darshanam.
Mhm.
That is what he says. Look, open your eyes and look. And you will find that it is me alone you see. Therefore, you need not close your eyes and meditate. You need not go into sadhana. You just learn to appreciate the universe as Ishvara. That is why for the Vaidika, Akasha is Ishvara, Vayu is Ishvara, Agni is Ishvara, everything is Ishvara. Everything is Ishvara experience alone. Right? Because if Ishvara is the material cause, and Ishvara has become the world, where is Ishvara? He is the world only. Right? So when you say that I am going to Tirupati to see the Lord, don't say Lord is there. You have to say He is there also. And that is why Vyapakam, every form, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, every tree, everything is Ishvara alone. Ishvara alone pervades the whole universe. Right? Now, from the point of view of the creator, we can say Ishvara produces the world. Right? From the point of Nimitta Karanam, Ishvara produces the world. From the point of Upadana Karanam, Ishvara becomes the world. That is the idea. And therefore Ishvara is both. And so Shankara says, Tam aham namami. To that Ishvara I prostrate. and which Easwara is Upadeshtharam. So here Shankara says, Easwara is my Acharya, because Shankara needs the grace of Acharya, needs the grace of a teacher. Very important point is being conveyed. Every teacher needs the grace of his own teacher. So when I teach, I should remember only what my teacher has taught me. I should not add or subtract anything from the teaching. Then only the purity of the teaching is maintained. Therefore, in our tradition, no teacher thinks of himself as a teacher. I am a great teacher, nobody says. He knows he is only the pipeline who is carrying the teaching forward. And that is why every class, the teacher will always invoke his guru. Right? Now, the word Upadeshtharam itself, we can think of as interpret in two ways. One is that Shankara is using that word, seeing his guru as Lord Vishnu. Right? Who Shankara's guru? Govind Bhagavapada. Shankaracharya is equating Govind Bhagavapada as Lord Vishnu. That is the first interpretation. The second one is that Shankara is directly invoking Adi Guru, Lord Vishnu himself. In either case, the meaning doesn't change because he is worshipping the entire Guru Parampara. The entire, from Narayana to Govind Bhagavapada, the entire Guru Parampara is worshipping. And so an idea is being conveyed nicely that if you worship the original also, you are worshipping the entire Parampara. If you worship the Parampara, you are also worshipping the original. It's a very beautiful prayer sloka, and we can use it, even before Bhagavad Gita only. Why? Because Bhagavad Gita is also taught by Lord Vishnu only. Okay, any questions, please?
Acharya ji,
Yes, June.
what would be then the prose translation of this verse?
I'm giving you each word. You have to put it together.
Okay.
Okay,
Just,
if you want, I'll put it into the later. I'll put it into the group, the prose translation. Okay. So the prose translation, let me tell you, it will. It's like eating, a laddu without the sweet in it. So you have to look at the whole thing and extract the meaning.
Yes.
So we need the laddu with the sweet.
You need the laddu with the sweet. The laddu without sweet has no meaning. You'll just be chewing something. Okay, we have a few minutes, so let's just chant the next verse. Verse number 2. Aparoksha Anubhutirvai.
Aparoksha
Bhutirvai
Prochyate moksha siddhaye.
Prochyate moksha siddhaye
Sadbhireva prayatnena.
Eva prayatnena
Vikshaniya muhurmuhu. Okay, so now comes the introduction to the text. And according to the rules of the introduction, the author must present Anubandha Chatushtayam. So if you remember that line, that little verse, Adhikari cha Vishayaha Sambandhascha Prayojanam Shastra Arambha Phalam Proktam Anubandha Chatushtayam. Right? This is something which we had done earlier. It's a small verse. To memorize it, to remember the 4 factors which we call Anubandha Chatushtayam. So what are the 4 factors? Adhikari is the first one. Adhikari is one who is the person who is qualified to benefit from the book. Only if you have those qualifications will the text benefit you. Vishayaha, adhikari cha vishayaha. Adhikari is the first one. Cha vishayaha, and vishaya, subject matter. Then prayojanam, what is the benefit of the study? And then sambandhaha, what is the relationship between the text and the subject matter? That is called the sambandhaha. These are the four things to be presented in any text. So he says, Shastra Arambha Phalam Proktam. At the beginning of the Shastram, these four have to be stated. And what are they called? Anubandha Chatushtayam. The four Anubandhas. Technical term implying these four factors. Now let us see what he says. Aparoksha Anubhuti vai prochyate. Aparoksha Anubhuti, the Aparoksha Jnanam of Brahman is being taught in this book. So under which of the Anubandha Chatushtayam does it fall?
Vishaya.
Vishaya.
So Vishaya is denoted by Aparoksha Anubhuti vai prochyate. Right? Content is Brahman. Okay. So why does he say this? Because the moment you look at this Anubandha Chatushtayam, you know Aparoksha Anubhuti is the content of this text. Aparoksha Anubhuti is Aparoksha Jnanam about Brahman. And therefore, I can decide whether I want to go further or not. Supposing I am not interested in Brahman knowledge, then the moment he says this, then I know that no point. So I did not study further. I can drop the book. Right? So that is why this is given first. Then comes prayojanam. What is prayojanam in this particular text? From the moksha siddhaye, accomplishment of moksha, the benefit is attainment of liberation. And this benefit will go only to the person who understands what is Aparoksha Anubhuti. His expectations from life will go away. Right? Remember that all of us have expectations from life. There is no problem with having an expectation. The problem is if the expectations are binding. If it's a binding expectation, then when the expectation is not fulfilled, I will have disappointment. Therefore, in life, either I should have no expectations, which is not possible, or I should convert every expectation into a non-binding expectation. And freedom from non-binding expectations is called moksha. Right? So I remember when I first started as a child to learn, let us say, I think it was karate. Do you know what is the first thing they teach you? Natarajan will know because Natarajan studied. What is the first thing they taught you was?
Ravi, can you repeat your question?
My question is, when you went to learn karate in school, what is the first thing they taught you?
I know they emphasize a lot on fitness and your ability and your whether you are interested or things like that. I'm not able to answer your question, to be honest.
You taught me, so you should know.
I've become older than you, Ravi, so I've forgotten it.
Okay, you taught me how to fall without hurting myself.
Okay.
You remember?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so you taught me the first thing, how to fall, because you're going to fall, how to fall without hurting yourself. And therefore, Vedantic success, Vedanta teaches you how to fall without hurting yourself, how to fail without disturbing your mind. So after any failure, I should be prepared to continue, and therefore I should take every failure as an experience which will take me to success. So with this, we have run out of time. I'll stop for the day. And we will continue from the next class onwards. Om Purnamada Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vashishyate.
Vashishyate.
Om
Om
Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Shanti.
Om Tat Sat. Om Namah
Om
Shivaya.
Tat
Thank you,
Sat.
my
Om
Apeshit.
Namah
Thank you,
Shivaya.
Acharya.
Om
Thank you
Bye.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.